Hello! It's the end of a school year for us, and you know what that means? It means it's also time for tech, our Torero Entrepreneurship Challenge. And this is our fifth one. Now, I've been here 13 years, and we did something exciting by creating a wonderful challenge that we're going to tell you about just a little bit later. I'm Shel Roberts. I'm Dean of the Shiley-Marcos School of Engineering, and I want to welcome every one of you that are here today. This is a fun time for us, and I hope it is exciting and very interesting time for you also. You know, tech is a competition, and it's a campus-wide competition. It's an opportunity we give for any student who wants to pitch an idea for a startup, for a company that has technology at the center of what that it does. So pervasive for anybody, and we filled a whole bunch of people and we bring them in and are showing the very best ones to you this year. We've had some really fun ones in the past. We've had, let's see, additions to surfboards. We've had things for cameras. We've had technology that assists people in their medical capability, records, garbage, waste management, you name it. Our students are so creative in what they do and what makes a difference for them. But creating, and we've had some of these, by the way, that have made it. I mean, they're making money, they're profitable, they're companies. But that's really not our purpose here. That's a purpose, and we're really proud of those student teams that have done that. What we care about is something I'd call the entrepreneurial mindset, and that's an ability to think in an entrepreneurial way. So what does that mean exactly? Well, I have known engineering students, we'll just focus on engineering, that create some interesting things like the flying toaster. Now, what do you do with a flying toaster, right? It may be a wonderful technology, but nobody needs a flying toaster. There's not a market for that. There's not somebody else who's going to buy that sort of thing. So an entrepreneurial mindset gets you thinking about the value of what you do, for whom you're creating something, and how they might use that thing. It taps into what we think at USD are some of our strongest strengths, to our liberal arts. It's the ability to critically think, to ask questions, to perceive, and then to communicate. And that's what our students have to do when they get through with this challenge. So, like I said, later on we're going to tell you how this all got started, an exciting story. But for right now, welcome to our challenge, and I want to introduce to you one of our newest faculty members, the Chair of Computer Science and the Program Director of Tech, Nikhil Yadav. So Dr. Yadav, welcome.
Thank you, Dean Roberts. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to serve as the faculty lead for this year's Torero Entrepreneurship Contest 2025. A bit about me before we dive in. My name is Nikhil Yadav. I'm an associate professor and the chair of the Department of Computer Science at USD's Shiley-Marcos School of Engineering. My research focuses on applying artificial intelligence to build contextually aware computing systems. Before joining USD, I served as computer science faculty at St. John's University in New York for 9 years. I also serve beyond academia as the Chief Technology Officer for Kaleidoscope Inc., a firm which builds innovative ESG solutions to impact social change. I've also worked in software engineering positions in industry. So I can relate to the excitement this year's participants in tech are feeling. Having been there myself as a grad student, in a competition very similar to this at the University of Notre Dame, we ended up winning that, forming a startup, and I can just feel really excited for these entrepreneurs who are embarking on the same journey. So I'm excited for them to continue on this path. This year's event showcases an impressive range of cutting-edge technologies. We have transformational AI applications, blockchain innovations to enforce digital trust, fresh approaches to investing in digital cryptocurrency, and novel techniques for medical data analysis to impact health delivery and outcomes. So I look forward to guiding you through today's program as we see interesting innovations coming from across campus. Thank you for being here. I will now hand off to Jeff Teza, who has been involved with tech since 2021. He's an academic director and adjunct professor at the Shiley-Marcos School of Engineering. He's also served as an adjunct professor at the Knaus School of Business. Jeff is an entrepreneur with more than 14 years of startup experience, and he's been involved in various senior roles during this time. So good luck to all our teams, and I'll hand over to Jeff. Let's begin.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to be your MC today. First, I'd like to thank Nikhil and Chell for that great introduction. And more specifically, I'd like to basically welcome everybody and thank you for supporting our student engineering entrepreneurship teams. I think you're going to find that they put a lot of work into their video and PowerPoint presentations, and you're going to see just the videos today. But we have a really, I think, challenging session that will cause you to learn quite a bit along the way. I know I did. So I know Chell talked a little bit about what does it mean to be create an entrepreneurial mindset, but I wanted to dive into 4 things in particular. One is an entrepreneurial mindset, I think, starts with curiosity and the ability to challenge accepted solutions and problems. And that means that curiosity can't be narrowly focused. It has to be broad. It has to be about societal impacts, individual impacts, a lot of different things, okay? Second is you need to be able to think from first principles, particularly in a scientific way, and take information from a lot of sources. And that's kind of how you manage risk at the end of the day. You start to understand what the impact is and think back to the core fundamental driving forces behind things. Third, and Chell touched on this a little bit, we try to teach students to think backwards from the customer so that, in fact, if the customer has a problem, it might be articulated or it might not be articulated. But if you think backwards from the customer, then you can add value to someone other than yourself in a startup. Okay? And then lastly, an important part is taking initiative, whether you're in an organization or out of an organization. And that initiative means that you have to have the resilience to persist and also to be able to learn from failures, because failures are part of the game. Check my notes here. So let me walk you through the details of this particular event, the Tech Challenge, and how we got here. So teams from across the campus, far and wide, were encouraged to give us submissions and of venture ideas, business venture ideas. And being, as Chell mentioned, as being part of the School of Engineering, we wanted to make sure that technology was a fundamental part of their value proposition. Okay, that's not the only thing we looked for, though. We also wanted to make sure there was a viable business opportunity, that we looked for evidence of an early product market fit. Okay, that's venture talk for essentially having customers that some evidence from the customers directly that, in fact, they're willing to buy and there's a business model that can make sense. We also look for unique and must have a viable business model of some sort. Can be a new type of model, or it could be existing ones. And then lastly, we do consider whether or not the amount of money that we're going to grant in the Tech Award can move the venture forward, if you will. So what happened? We had 11 teams. They submitted applications. Some of the teams met with Dr. Nikhil and myself to get specific feedback on their venture ideas. We found that many of the ideas, either the technology or the business idea was premature, so we coached them and encouraged them to keep working on the idea and submit them in the future at other events around the campus. That includes things like the Fowler Challenge, business school programs, and even tech next year, if that makes sense. So this was the first cut. So we cut the 11 down to 5, and those are the 5 that you're going to see. After we cut it down to 5, we notified those teams and essentially asked them and then the judges met and took notes on those 5. And we told them about any concerns we had in terms of clarity, of whether the message was coming across clear, whether there were things that needed more work, whether there were things that we thought were sort of dangling issues that sorted with the business. And that feedback then got fed to the 5 teams. The teams were encouraged to use that feedback to revise their presentations and their videos, but it was discretionary on their part. Some did, some did not. Those are the ones you're going to see in a minute. So next, I'd like to thank our valuable judges. These judges have had a difficult job in trying to get us down to the final 5, but also in terms of ranking these 5 using some of the criteria that I mentioned earlier. That was a challenge because they're all kind of viable ideas in our mind. First judge I'd like to highlight is Curtis Chambers. Curtis is a graduate from the School of Engineering. He graduated in 2019. He's an early team member and the technical co-founder of Uber. It's a little company that drives cars around and picks you up. He's also a USD trustee. He's an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. Second is Anthony Shao. Anthony is also a graduate from the School of Engineering. He's an alumni. He's a CEO and co-founder of Duroc Medical Solutions. And Duroc actually started as part of the engineering business school. It's one of the ones I think Chell mentioned early on. Next is Samantha Pantazopoulos. Samantha came from the School of Business. She also is an alumni. She graduated in 2017. She's the CEO and co-founder of Visor, and Samantha started her entrepreneurship journey at the USD Business School. Lastly, I think you've met Nakil. Nakil is in fact heading up the program as chair of the computer science. And my background, I have been involved in 14 different startups, but I have a message for the teams, okay? I'm an old guy, and so when I think back to different companies, you have to realize that I had to dodge dinosaurs on the way to work because this was a long time ago, okay? So it was very challenging back then. But unless you've actually been through a lot of different startups and seen the end movie, there are certain lessons that you can't get. And I've seen a lot of end movies. In fact, probably well over 10 of them and closer to 14 at this point. Some of them are still out there, okay? And here's one of the important ones I want to highlight, and that is the value that you add to the world and your ability to capture that value, you should think of as 2 independent variables. They're correlated, but they're not co-integrated, if you will, okay? In other words, you can add a lot of value and not be able to capture it. And there are people that don't add that much value that might actually get very, very wealthy, okay? And you'll realize this when you get to see the end of the movie at many of these, okay? So my message to the startup founders and entrepreneurs is don't measure your value purely monetarily, okay? I've had scores of people come to me and say that a company that I was involved with changed their life for the better. And in some cases, those companies went belly up. So think about that, right? Next, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what we have for you today. First, we're going to individually present each of the 5 finalist videos. The guests, that's you, okay, are muted, but we still encourage you to use the Zoom chat features to essentially shout out to the teams and the individuals within the teams and encourage them, okay? That's number 1. Second of all, the judges after those 5, and by the way, we'll be doing a Q&A after each one of the presentations. After that, the judges are going to have some private deliberations. And keep in mind that we've seen the earlier videos and have in many cases been coaching some of the teams along their way, and essentially create the final ranking. Okay. After that, while we're doing that, when the judges are comparing notes, Chell and Elisa are going to come back and teach you a little bit more about the Larry Kull and the Larry Kull Endowment Awards, which is essentially the support that the university has and the School of Engineering in particular that makes these programs possible. During that time, when they're out and after the last presentation, we're going to open up something called the Audience Choice Awards. And I want everybody to vote, because the Audience Choice Awards are essentially your pick of who of the 5 you are most impressed with. And that will, in fact, have an impact on the payout to the team. Okay. So to keep things moving, I'm going to introduce our first team. First team is called Apprendi. Of course, everybody's making up names in the beginning, and they named it Apprendi. And Apprendi addresses a timely issue for educators, AI and education. We were just talking about this before we got started here, how big an impact AI is having on education. And today at USD, we ask students to reference AI inputs in any bibliography citations that they make. But is there a better way? Is there a way to use AI to enhance learning, right? You have to decide. And so to help you, take it away, Apprendi.
Hello, welcome to Apprendi. My name is Patricia Geralt, and I'm super excited to show this product to you. So, teachers are facing an impossible choice right now, either to ban AI use or allow unlimited AI use in their classrooms. And banning AI use is not the answer, because it's failing to prepare students for a future where AI is going to be incorporated in every aspect of our lives. And to that extension, employers want a workforce that is AI literate and can work effectively with AI. And teachers, well, they also are allowing unlimited AI use, and this is causing an increase in academic dishonesty. And it's causing AI to do more work for their students, and it's diminishing critical thinking, therefore compromising learning outcomes that are so important for the student's success. At Apprendi, we envision a different future where you don't have to ban AI and you don't have to allow unlimited AI use, but controlled AI use. And that is what Apprendi does. See, the Apprendi solution is that we prepare students for an AI-powered future, but on your terms. Our essential solution addresses 4 critical areas that are essential to educational success in the age of AI. First, we provide full control over AI interactions with students. You choose exactly where and how AI is going to be used in your classroom with customized AI learning modes that adapt to your teaching approach. Second, we're going to increase academic honesty by creating a transparent environment where students can engage honestly with AI tools. And our system actively deters AI in restrictive areas, ensuring it's only used where you permitted it to be used. Third, we're going to prepare students for a future by allowing them to engage with AI in a manner that enhances their learning so they can become AI literate. And we're going to foster critical thinking in students by designing AI interactions that enhance learning instead of replacing it, because our goal is to create better thinkers and not just create better tools. We created a live demo for us to see how Apprendi works. This would be the dashboard of the first page that the user would see. They would upload an assignment, as you see right there. I upload an assignment already for us. So first it gets processed by AI using our OpenAI API. And it breaks the assignment down into individual questions, allowing the teacher to give individual AI permissions on the question level. This is something that no other platform does. So these are our different learning modes, and there are different ways that students can interact with AI, but enhance learning and help them solve problems instead of just getting the answers from AI. So let's test out a couple modes here. Obviously, we can't go through all the modes because of time restrictions, but we'll test out the hint mode. We'll see the no AI mode, an example mode, and maybe the step-by-step framework mode. Some of the other modes are compare, which compares your answer first, and then you see the AI's response. We have a Socratic mode that asks the student questions based on how they're doing. They can have a conversation to solve the problem. Error detection mode, it finds errors in the student's work and points them out, but doesn't give them the solution. So these are different ways that students can engage with AI in a manner to foster critical thinking. So what you just saw was the teacher view, what the teacher would see, and this is the student view, how a student would receive an assignment as if they open it up on Canvas. So this is the first question, and it's based on the simple chart. So if I wanted a hint, I can, ask for a hint, and as you see it just It gives me a hint. It doesn't give me the answer, but just gives me a hint, gets me closer to me solving the problem. This is the no AI mode. One of the features that we've implemented here is you can't copy and paste, as well as clear visual cues to let the student know where AI is not allowed and original work is required. This is an example generation mode, as you can think. This is, it would give me a example relevant to the problem. This is obviously a very simple problem, but it still works. And this is a step-by-step mode that breaks the question down into step-by-steps and gives them the framework to without giving them the answer. And this is also very beneficial. This would work better in more complex problems with more steps to it. This is obviously, again, a very simple. You wouldn't necessarily need this framework, but it works nevertheless, and you can go checking them off as you go and take notes on each step, and it just helps the students engage in some good thinking. So Apprendi has competition on two sides. On one side, AI detection softwares, and on the other side, AI tutors, because we're solving academic dishonesty, and we're also enhancing learning. So we're on two fronts of the spectrum. And Apprendi uniquely addresses AI education from both sides, deterring misuse while enhancing learning, unlike our competitors who specialize in just one area. We excel at both. For academic integrity, we prevent dishonesty proactively through our enhanced learning modes, and unlike our competitors who just specialize in detecting violations after they have occurred. And on the learning enhancement side, Apprendi is the first platform that allows educators to fully customize interactions within the assignments that they uploaded, saying their own uploaded assignments that they have in their database, their files, when and where students can leverage AI support. And it creates a perfect balance between academic integrity and innovative learning. So our end user for this product, or to outline our business model, it's important to outline our end user, and it's educators. That's where we want to get to. Educators, we can find them at universities, at colleges, at K through 12, and they get their tools via the university through these LMS platforms, this learning management system. So universities provide the tools to the professor via the LMSs. So our primary customer has to be institutions, not individual professors. Though institutional sales cycles are longer and more complex, this approach is sound strategically, because in my conversations with professors across campus, they consistently emphasize how unlikely they would be to buy a product that was directly marketed towards them. Two professors even offered to show me their inboxes overflowing with unanswered messages from edtech vendors. So we're going straight at the institutions. So what is our timeline looking for customer acquisition? Well, first 6 months, we're going to launch a beta testers. We already have a couple professors who have agreed to use Apprendi in their classrooms and help me iterate and create a better product. Phase 2, we will create a more complex product and expand to more professors in USD. This will be a more complete product with more features. And phase 3 is then we're going to market that complete product towards the institutional investors who want to start to monetizing it. The product launch time is, first we're going to build the secure LTI 1.3 integration with Canvas, and this is a learning tool that educators can integrate into their Canvas platforms, but without having to be on the Canvas marketplace. And this only needs admin access from whoever controls the Canvas of that specific teacher or department. And we're going to run early pilot with teachers and universities and create feedback and iterate. Phase 2 is we're going to launch on the Canvas marketplace, and we're going to apply for the infrastructure program. We're going to get Canvas on that app center, and that's when we're going to start targeting IT admins, get ready for that launch into institutional customers. And once we get to phase 3, we're on the LMS like Canvas, and we're going to expand to others like Google Classrooms and Blackboard, and we're going to extend more features into a more complete product. And for the development of this, well, first, during phase 1, we're going to complete the MVP, and alongside the MVP, we're going to get that learning tool integration into Canvas so that teachers who are beta testing, and then also on phase 2 who are using a more complete product, they can access it through Canvas. And then in phase 2, when we're trying to get into the Canvas marketplace, we're going to get our IMS global certifications. We're going to conduct accessibility audits and implement a FERPA and COPA compliant data storage policies. And these are all legal infrastructure that is needed in our code so that Canvas allows us to be in their marketplace. And phase 3 is we're going to move beyond Canvas and, again, to other LMS platforms. And our revenue streams in the different phases: no revenue in phase 1, no revenue in phase 2, and phase 3 in the first 2. And after, when we get to our second year, is when we're going to start looking for our first institutional contract with an estimated price of about $21,000 per contract. And the capital required, well, we want $10,000, $0 to $10,000 for the MVP and the LTI 1.3 integration. To get on the Canvas marketplace, we need additional $20,000 to $30,000 in capital. And to scale beyond Canvas, we need another $40,000 to $50,000 in additional campus to keep growing. So the EdTech market, well, it's $84 billion here in the US for only SaaS, software as a service. And in California, it's $8.4 billion. And at Apprendi, we're targeting $3.3 billion, which represents 30 to 40% of higher ed and K through 12 schools who have the budget for a product like Apprendi, according to our research. And we'll meet the team. It's me. I'm a senior. I study finance, business administration. I have a minor in IT. And this is not the first project that I've worked on or tried to build. I've built projects before like NutriQuest and Saya. And I just have an extreme passion for technology. I love entrepreneurship, and I'm persistent and super motivated. And I know I can't do this alone, but I will find through my persistence the necessary team members to keep going at it and take Apprendi to the next level. And I thank you so much for watching this presentation, and I hope you join this journey.
Round of applause for Patricio. So I'm going to steal one of the quotes in there. I think you said, I don't know if I captured it quite right, but it was something like, it helps students think better. And
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
big fan of students thinking better. In fact, thinking great thoughts is how you start most journeys at the end of the day, right? So we have a couple of questions for you, Patricio. Okay. First is it a goal, is one of your goals, is it to allow instructors to also use your tool to help grading tasks as well as in the content?
Yes. After I didn't have time to do it in the demo, but it's already in the MVP. Teachers can upload an assignment, and alongside their assignment, they can upload a rubric to go along that assignment. And upon the student submission, we would have a feature that would grade the assignment. So, short answer, yes, that would be part
Cool.
of our long-term vision.
Cool. Okay, here's another one. How might you decide, I mean, you mentioned a lot of different potential markets, K through 12, elementary school, high school, universities, et cetera. How might you decide what your best beachhead market is? Beachhead being the first market that you'll try to penetrate.
Yes. I believe that our first beachhead market, beyond our initial testing phase and product phase, our first customers will be middle schools and high schools, as they are trying to launch into helping students use AI on a more basic level. So I think those were going to be our first beachhead markets.
Good answer. I love it. Okay, thank you, everybody. This AI thing is big, believe me. It's really big if you're in the university world. And I'm sure all of you are aware of how fast things are moving. So the next up is a company called CheckRx. And CheckRx, I love startups where the founder has a personal knowledge of the value proposition. They're essentially a proxy, if you will, for the customer, because it keeps their instincts on track. And in this case, in that case, it makes it a little bit easier for them to really understand the marketplace because they can identify with it. So terminology and everything else helps to glue everything together. I also like the idea of essentially making price transparency an early part of refining the healthcare system in the United States. I think that the differences in prices says it's a long ways from a free market. And this company checks both boxes. So here's their story.
Hi, my name is Augustus Holm and I'm the founder of CheckerX. CheckerX is a Medicare health plan comparison tool that simplifies choosing the right health plan for the average person. Now, whenever I tell somebody what industry I work in, I always get a weird look followed by why. And honestly, it's a fair question. I mean, why would I choose to start a company in an industry where I'm constantly the youngest person in the room? Well, to answer that question, let's go back to my grandma. What CheckerX does now is what I used to tell my grandma to do by hand. My grandma's a Medicare agent, and when I was 13, she used to have this giant binder that was easily 500 pages thick, filled with physical papers that are called formularies. Formulary is a list of drugs that health plans cover, and it tells you what copay or coinsurance, the cost, and which prescriptions they actually cover. So with that, I used to flip through it and find the prescription names and then tell her the costs, and I used to do all these plan comparisons manually. And honestly, it'd take me an hour to be able to do it, but I wanted to find a faster way to do it. So I kept on reiterating my process, getting PDFs, creating an Excel sheet, finding where the data was, updating data automatically. And pretty soon I created the first prototype of CheckerX. And with that, I started becoming interested. Is it a feasible product? Originally, it was designed just to be able to help my grandma do her job easier and faster. But what if it's able to help more people? Well, I started doing research. And when I looked at problems in the Medicare industry, I came across two major ones. One, seniors overpay. 42% of seniors spend 20% or more on their healthcare, and 83% of seniors are completely confused about what benefits they even get from their chosen health plan. On top of that, agents are overwhelmed. Medicare agents, again, are people that help seniors find which health plans best fit their needs. But agents spend 233 hours a year manually reviewing their clients' coverage to make sure that they're still in the best plan. Well, those are the good ones, because a lot of them choose to forego that entire process because it takes too long, causing their seniors to be put onto bad health plans or health plans that don't fully cover what they need, leading to financially crippling situations because seniors need those prescriptions or those health benefits, or they choose to forego the prescriptions altogether because it's too expensive, leading to chronic health conditions, which then can lead to an early death or increased costs later down the line in health expenses. But generally, our plan comparison system is broken. It's not a lack of resources, it's a lack of simplicity. And that's what CheckerX is. That's our solution. We want to be able to simplify the entire process. So with that, we created two main products. One is our mobile app. It simplifies plan comparisons into 3 steps. Scan, compare, store. You're able to scan prescriptions or type or talk into it to be able to say your prescriptions or upload a photo. Then press compare. Once you create your prescription list, it'll output a list of plans that cover the most prescriptions at the lowest cost. And straight from the phone, you're able to enroll. Easy as that. And the best part is we're able to collect $100 per enrollment from the health plan. So obviously the senior doesn't have to pay anything, but the health plan pays us a commission, which is a great way to be able to fund that app without having to charge the consumer. Then for our ACE enterprise tool, which ACE stands for Automate, Compare, Enroll, it automates that 233-hour process that an agent has to do. Instead, it takes it from 233 down to around 6 hours. It automatically sends out all the digital intake forms they need to be able to collect, what hospitals, what pharmacies, what doctors, what prescriptions the seniors take, in a very easy UI, UX friendly way for seniors to be able to fill out. And then automates the comparison portion where you don't have to do it manually. It does it for you and will automatically tell you whether or not a senior still has the best coverage on their chosen plan. And then you're able to enroll each one of the seniors direct straight from there. That process, legally, we're not allowed to automate, but it's pretty simple with just a 2-click system, being able to do it, which is why we're able to save them all that time down from 233 to 6 hours. With that, we also charge a subscription-based service of $35 all the way up to $55 per month, depending on how many clients are in that agent's book of business. Or the end goal is never to charge the senior, because you shouldn't have to pay to find which health plans best fit your needs, but instead the companies that are able to make money off of the seniors, since they are obligated to do the best work possible, but we also give the best prices possible compared to any competitors. Our traction has been pretty great. We recently launched in January, and as of January, we are now up to $16,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Honestly, we can be a lot higher than that, but we've chosen not to take on some of these major clients that have thousands and thousands of agents. That's mostly because we wanted to be able to build and deploy as fast as possible, but didn't set up our infrastructure to be able to scale. That's because we wanted to get as much user feedback before we decided to take on these huge multi-million-dollar clients. And with that, these past 3 months have been so valuable to be able to build an even better product than we had last year in December. And as for our team, we have quite a few, but our two founders are myself and Andrew Chaires. I've raised about $3.1 million in donation revenue for my nonprofit, which is called YPC, which is primarily for healthcare and educational equity. But with that, I've been able to use a lot of the relationships I developed in philanthropy, which are a lot of health groups and health insurance companies, to be able to get feedback about CheckRx and be able to connect with a lot more people. Additionally, Andrew Chaires is a full stack developer. Emilio Perez is our sales director, who's also a student at USD, and I'm also a student at USD. And our development team is Samai Lakhani. He is an AI researcher or AI engineer from Columbia University. We also have Kevin Zhang, who is our data engineer from MIT. We have Armand Gill, who is also a software developer from MIT, and then Gocha Bonev, who is our systems architect working remotely from Bulgaria. And he has helped us scale, I think, almost 9 startups to over 1 million users in the health tech space, which is amazing, and has been one of our key people, especially given his experience. And then our key advisor is Patricia Salas, who's the CEO of one of the largest national Medicare agencies, helping to give us a lot of warm connections to some of the biggest industry players, and also thousands of users to be able to get feedback from.
Augustus, congratulations on getting to a recurring revenue stream. That's not easy. I think that's fantastic. And I'm going to quote you on the lack of simplicity, because I agree that is, if anybody that's had to, navigate the labyrinth of what we call the healthcare system in this country, they know that it's not simple. Okay. So we have some questions coming in. Beep, 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 beep. Here they come. Okay. Do you anticipate any resistance from healthcare providers to be onboarded?
No, actually, we're in talks with multiple healthcare providers, different health plans that are actually reached out to us to be able to be one of our key providers when starting our whole enrollment process. So it actually acts as a really good marketing tool for them in terms of acquiring new customers at a much cheaper rate compared to traditional customer acquisition costs and methods within the Medicare industry.
Good answer. So next, though, is did you tackle them initially in order to help get the thing moving, or did you essentially start with end customers and then approach them?
So the initial product started with my grandma in mind, who's a Medicare agent. But as we started progressing, it became more so the end consumer, who would be the senior, to be able to use it. And building the platform around the senior in terms of making it as simple as possible is what allowed us to be really attractive for health plans. Since if it's easy enough for a senior to be able to use and be able to enroll from the app, that means that it would be easy enough for them to be able to enroll into one of the limited providers that we have.
I'm a senior. You can test it on me. I'm not sure I can figure it out, but we'll try. Maybe it's that engineering background. Give it up, guys. Give it up for CheckRx. Okay, next up. Here's something you don't see every day, okay? This one's called fisheye. And this is about counting fish that aren't in a barrel. I mean, some of you know about shooting fish in a barrel. You're going to count fish, and these fish are not in the barrel. I know I learned something from this one. This seems to me like the perfect opportunity to apply AI to a growing problem in market, what we call now at the edge. So check this one out, fisheye.
If you're anything like me, you love seafood. What if I told you that we're running out of fish? Overfishing is a massive economic and environmental disaster. Some species have seen over 90% population decline, and it's costing the global economy tens of billions of dollars. The oceans are being drained faster than they can recover, but new technologies can give us hope for the future. Hi, I'm Dylan Timmer, and I'm here today to present Fisheye, a software product that leverages AI vision to automate the process of classifying and counting fish on board fishing vessels. But to understand this product a little bit better, let's first dive into the issue. Seafood is critical to the health and diet of people all around the world. In fact, over 3 billion people rely on fish as a major source for their daily protein intake. But overfishing threatens this industry. Overfishing is when fisheries catch too many fish in too short of a time. It causes fish populations to fall below a level where they can sustainably breed back to healthy levels. Over 35% of just the world's assessed fisheries are overfished, a number that's tripled in just the past 50 years. When we lose fish, we also lose jobs and we lose money. Declining fish populations are costing the industry $10 to $20 billion annually, and the issue is only getting worse. When there's less fish, it becomes more difficult for fisheries to continue operations without even further contributing to the issue in depleting fish stocks. But it's actually not just the size of demand that is causing overfishing. It is instead illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing that's the root of the problem. It's hard to keep fisheries accountable in the open ocean, and this leads to false reporting of catches. There are many governments and organizations that are setting strict regulation quotas on the amount of fish that a fisher can catch, but without a good system in place to ensure that their reported numbers are accurate, it's just way too easy for fisheries to lie about their catch counts and sneak by the law. But the problem of keeping fisheries accountable is not what I'm here to solve. This is already being done by electronic monitoring systems, also known as EMS. EMS is installed in a fishing vessel through gear sensors, cameras, computers, and GPS. What happens is when fishing gear is triggered, onboard cameras are activated to record and save what was caught. The footage is then later delivered to humans, who manually scroll through hundreds of hours of video and tally the catch counts for the various species. It's here that we can find the pain point of EMS. This human review is agonizingly slow, tedious, and expensive. It can take days up to weeks after the footage was captured for a reviewer to finish their count and report back to the fishery. There are also huge labor fees associated with paying workers to do this monotonous task. A fishery's commission calculator would cost over $200,000 a year to review the EMS footage of just one fleet. In a fisheries report by the Nature Conservancy, they perfectly summed up this issue. EM's greatest strength is also its greatest weakness. It captures a lot of data, but a human still needs to review and analyze that data.
The solution that I have been developing is Fisheye. Fisheye is a real-time catch dashboard powered by a state-of-the-art AI detection and tracking model. Fisheye allows fisheries to process their videos live with instant readings and easily visualize their catch totals and quotas. Let's start with an example to see what Fisheye looks like for an actual user. Let's say I'm a fishery manager getting ready to send a vessel out for the day. I start by opening up the breakdown and entering the catch limits for different types of species. Let's say for yellowfin tuna, we have a limit today of 5. For mahi-mahi, we have a limit today of 2. And for albacore, we have a much higher limit at 20. Now that I have my limit set, I'll send my fishing vessel out to sea and start to process the EMS footage as it comes in. So what's happening now is that as EMS footage is being recorded on the boat and sent to our model, we can see the model making these detections and updating our catch dashboard to reflect them. So as time goes on and the model processes more video footage, we can see the total catch increase, and we can also see a breakdown of different species and the catch totals for those species. So the EMS is recording these catches in real time, it's sending this footage to the model, and the model is updating these values. We can also begin to see when our limits are hit. Mahi-mahi, now we've got 2 out of 2, and we get notifications alerting us that this quota has been hit. The same has now happened for yellowfin tuna. We've hit our catch limit of 5 out of 5, and now we've exceeded our limit. The box has turned red, easily visualizing that yellowfin tuna has been exceeded, and we get 2 notifications alerting us of this too. Now that all footage has been processed, this is what the dashboard might look like at the end of the day. It's very easy to see which limits have been hit and which limits have been exceeded. So now you're probably asking, what's actually going on behind this? Maybe I'm just updating these numbers, pulling them from nowhere. There's no real footage, so let's take a look at the magic behind Fisheye. When we switch to this detailed view, we can see all the footage that the model was using. This is, reflective of footage that a fishing vessel and the EMS cameras have caught over the day. We can take a look at what the model is seeing when we send it footage. This is a sequence that was recorded on EMS footage, and we can see the model is detecting all the humans and also the fish, and as the clip finishes, it gives its final results of 1 yellowfin tuna, which it accurately detected. As a fishery manager, I can also go in and make sure the model is correct. I can select a species and watch the sequences associated with it. In this case, we can see that both mahi-mahi were accurately detected. Let's take a look at some more sequences to see how well the model is going to perform on some more challenging footage. In this sequence, we see a case where there's multiple fish on screen, and there's also people walking around and bagging the fish, so a lot going on, but the model still correctly sees 3 albacore. This is a case of both poor weather conditions and it's dark outside, but the model still correctly sees 1 yellowfin tuna. And one of the best parts about this model is that this performance was achieved with only $4 in comp fee for training. So just imagine what's possible with further funds to keep training and testing the model in different conditions. This clean and readable dashboard makes all this data very easy to understand for the end users. The model is a confusing black box, but the dashboard visualizes everything and makes the model's decisions clear. A fishing vessel can display this dashboard on board for all workers to know their catch totals and see which quotas are close to being hit.
Now, let's talk about the money. The market for this technology is massive, and the timing is right on the brink of huge global changes in EMS adoption. According to NOAA, the fishing industry accounts for 1.5% of the world's entire GDP. And domestically, in the United States, commercial fisheries generated $183 billion in 2022. I could list stats all day and go forever, but the idea is pretty clear. The fishing industry is enormous. When we zoom into the market for automatic EMS footage review with a product like Fisheye, I see two clear target segments. One is fisheries that are using EMS under regulatory requirements, and two is fisheries that are looking to meet growing social demands for sustainability. In this first market, there's a quickly growing trend of governments that are mandating EMS to keep fisheries accountable and ensure their regulations are being followed. Over 6 countries have already committed to 100% monitoring, including New Zealand and Chile. In the US, mandatory monitoring programs have been implemented in the West Coast in 2024 and in Alaska just this year in 2025. As the issue of overfishing is getting worse, governments are enforcing EMS to halt unreported fishing. With EMS required, fisheries will opt for the far cheaper and more efficient option of AI review with Fisheye rather than the costly and slow human review. The second market is for fisheries that are looking to prove sustainability. Even when EMS is not required by law, fisheries are still going to implement it so that they can sell their products for a sustainable premium. Major retailers like Walmart and Sam's Club have already committed to only selling tuna for monitored vessels by 2027 under the new Tuna Transparency Pledge. For fisheries to keep selling at these large retailers, they will have to use EMS. Studies also show that consumers are willing to pay more for sustainable goods. A 2024 survey found customers are willing to pay a 10% premium for sustainable goods, and a Swedish study found that eco-labeled cod was effectively selling at higher prices. EMS is the easiest way for fisheries to prove sustainability, and Fisheye is the obvious choice for footage review. As we've seen so many times before, changing social demands open up new markets. And with the market for sustainable seafood, Fisheye is a selling product. Fisheye's business model will be a one-time hardware installation fee, followed by a monthly subscription fee to continue using the AI model and dashboard. Because vessels have limited internet, Fisheye will be run locally on edge computing devices like NVIDIA's Jetson series. The Jetson hardware costs range between $250 to $2,000, and this depends on boat size, the number of cameras, and other such factors. The installation includes the hardware setup and also linking the software to the existing EMS cameras on the vessel. Post-installation, fisheries will now be paying a $500 monthly fee per vessel to continue licensing Fisheye. Because for edge computing, there are minimal server fees, and most of this revenue is profit. Given that human EMS review costs about $3,000 per month, Fisheye customers are seeing significant cost savings. By charging only $500 per month, fisheries are saving more than 80% on the cost of EMS review. Plus, human review typically only covers about 10 to 50% of footage. Fisheye is able to see every single frame. To forecast revenue, operations would start in year 1 by targeting small fishing vessels in California. This market has 3,000 registered vessels, so if Fisheye would onboard just 1% of the California market, we would generate $180,000 in revenue. By year 3, we'd look to expand to Alaska, another region with strong EMS support, and develop more contracts and connections with the agencies that are pushing EMS. The goal in year 3 is to have 200 vessels using Fisheye, generating $1.2 million in revenue. By year 5, we project international expansion to countries like New Zealand that are enforcing EMS on all vessels. With 1,000 vessels now onboarded on Fisheye, we're making $6 million in yearly revenue. This growth strategy clearly positions Fisheye to become a leader in automated EMS solutions, capturing significant market share domestically and internationally. So you're probably wondering about the competitors, but in such a young market, the number of competitors is low. The 2 companies that I found that are building automated EMS review are AI.Fish and On Deck. However, both of these companies are using cloud-based models that require stable internet or processing after the vessel gets back to shore. Neither company has published any information about their pricing or total user counts, and both of their LinkedIn's displays that they have about 2 to 10 employees, so both companies are very small. These competitors are young, and the market remains largely untapped. Along with onboard edge computing, Fisheye stands out from the competitors through its user-centered dashboard. AI.Fish builds an aggregated report that is delivered to fisheries after all footage is reviewed. An On-Deck's model is hosted through an API, meaning that fisheries have to develop their own way to pipeline footage to the servers. Neither of these practices are user-friendly. Fisheye will continue the effort of EMS model development with a focus on business and profitability. While the AI model is the core of the product, it's the dashboard, the easy usability, and the implementation that convinces and sells the brand to fisheries. Working closely with fisheries to ensure the entire process of EMS review is as hands-off as possible is the goal of Fisheye. To sum it up, Fisheye is more than just an AI model. It's a business product designed for fisheries while also pushing a movement to create a more sustainable and transparent industry. With the right support, Fisheye can go from a working prototype to a scalable, industry-standard solution. The market is ready, the technology is proven, and the time to act is now. The future of fishing depends on it. Thank you.
That's bitchin', Dylan. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we got some questions for you. So first question is, are you aware of any incentives for fisheries who monitor overfishing? And can they make reporting easier and collect incentives? So for example, I don't know what organizations, but you mentioned that the kind of wind's at your back because a lot of companies now are saying they're only going to have, these sustainability tools for the products that they sell.
Yeah. So, like I said, like there's two different markets that really I'm thinking about driving the product into. So the first one with a mandatory, like government required EMS review. I think the incentive is, well, mainly it's just enforced. Like you can't really
Right.
dodge that. I know
Right.
that in Alaska there were some like optional.
Incentives to not get
Uh,
arrested and get big fees,
yeah,
basically.
exactly. So the
Yeah.
incentive is not getting charged a large fine, so it's probably a lot cheaper to use our product than it is to get a fee. And then
Right.
even for the companies without required EMS that are just trying to prove they're sustainable to sell their product as sustainable. That's another incentive that they can advertise their product as sustainable, and they have, Fisheye can report their numbers and back them up to show the claim is true.
So question number 2, good answer. Have you thought about trying to get the Tuna Sustainability Pledge organization, whoever does that, kind of in your boat,
Mhm.
if you will, so that,
Definitely, yeah.
as this thing works, that they can help essentially point people towards you?
Definitely, yeah. So I've mainly been just building this product out for the past couple months, getting it ready. But I think the next step is actually putting it on boats and testing it. And I think that's a great idea of where to start. I think working with California, somewhere local, and working with companies already working on EMS, like the Tuna Sustainability Pledge. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right in their bailiwick, so they can also probably give you a pretty
Definitely,
cheap
that'd be great.
marketing email addresses for just about everybody in the
Yeah.
industry, if I had to guess. So, good job, man.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next up, we have Oink. Oink, okay, OINK. This is a fintech app. That's venture capital talk for financial technology app that's focused on Gen Z and investing in crypto, two worlds coming together, okay, in a painlessly easy way. So, oink, oink.
Hi, I'm Thomas.
And I'm Andre. And I'm Zevin. And we are turning your spare change into digital wealth with Oink. Let me give you some background about the problem. When I looked to begin my investment journey, I was excited, scared, and most importantly, I didn't know where to start. I tried researching, but became overwhelmed as an early investor, and I realized I wasn't alone. 90% of Gen Z is looking to dive into the markets and begin their investment journey. However, 50% don't because they don't know where to start. And Oink is here to bridge that gap between those interested in investing and those who take action and actually invest. In this age of technology, your piggy bank shouldn't sit on the shelf anymore. Oink will be an app in which consumers are able to passively invest their spare change on everyday purchases. For Oink, this means that we will be monitoring transactions through Plaid, rounding them up to the nearest dollar, and investing the difference into the crypto market. It's the easiest way to start building wealth, hands-free, stress-free, and built for Gen Z.
Here's how it works. After linking your bank account to the trusted platform Plaid, who handles major companies' consumer banking information, all users need to do is 1. Set a threshold, 2. Spend like normal, and 3. Let Oink do the rest. Every time you make a transaction, we round it up to the nearest dollar and monitor it until the threshold is met. Once that threshold is met, we automatically invest it into a crypto, and from there, you can just watch your spare change grow. Oink values two things above all: security and Gen Z friendliness. We have built a pipeline between secure and trusted companies like Plaid and Coinbase, who handle these security issues. Oink has also been designed to be extremely user-friendly. Gen Z doesn't want to look at all the finance jargon, and we catered to them. We cut out all the extras and kept it as simple as possible, while still giving Gen Z control in their investments, with things like custom thresholds. So here we are on our Oink platform. We'll go ahead and sign up. To start, we'll put in our full name as well as our email. and then we'll go ahead and put in our password and agree to the terms of service. Now we'll start the connecting our bank account part of the platform. And here we're using Plaid, a secure platform. And for these purposes, we'll use Venmo as our personal account that we're connected to. And we'll go ahead and put on our email and password for Venmo. And the next step is we're going to go ahead and verify our identity with a code sent from Plaid to our phone. Go ahead and put that in. And now we are connected to our Venmo account with Plaid. And success. Now we'll go ahead and continue on to the next step, which is choosing our investment preferences. We'll go ahead and choose our roundup frequency, the threshold at which we want to invest at automatically, as well as the cryptocurrency of our choice. Here we chose Bitcoin. And after that, we're all set. Now, if we want to, we can look at a dashboard with total savings, as well as an investment growth chart showing our investments over time, during a week, month, 3 months, etc. We can see our current roundups, where they're at, as well as our current coin and how that's doing. We can also see if we're invested in multiple coins, how those balances are doing, as well as our investment history, whether they're automatic or manual. And then we can also see from Plaid our recent transactions. Here we spent $3 at Trader Joe's on April 8th. And this will go ahead and get added to our investment roundups. We can also see on the transactions page a list of our entire transaction history.
Now is the perfect time, and here's why. By 2030, Gen Z is expected to have $36 billion in disposable income, and crypto is already expecting to reach a $3 trillion market valuation. This crypto market is being led by Gen Z. Out of the current Gen Z investors, 42% already own a coin, with the rest on the sidelines waiting to get in on the action. And we are here to ride this wave.
When it comes to our target market, we've narrowed it down to the US and Gen Z users, a market of $5.25 billion. If we were to capture 2.5% of the US Gen Z interested in the crypto market within 3 to 5 years, that's 1.75 million users, investing $250 annually. That's a $437.5 million flow moving through Oink. And here's how we're going to capture this market. We're launching Oink right here in San Diego, starting with students at USD. Our strategy is simple. Partner with campus clubs and organizations and build an ambassador program to drive awareness, and let word of mouth do the rest. And it's already working. Nearly 70% of students in our USD-based survey said they'd be interested in a platform like Oink. Oink is providing unparalleled value within investment space. If you look, Oink is the only platform in the crypto space that is both beginner-friendly and low maintenance. Companies like Coinbase, Kraken are dedicated to the crypto market. However, their complex interface makes it overwhelming for a first-time investor. While Acorns achieved a level of excellence in equity markets by focusing on a passive, beginner-friendly, low-maintenance process, they've yet to fully embrace a growing crypto market, a market Oink will tap into. When we began building Oink, our original plan was to monetize through subscriptions, similar to models used by companies like Acorns, but we wanted to learn from history. So we studied Round the X, a crypto roundup investing platform that raised over $3 million and gained hundreds of thousands of users before ultimately failing. We reached out to their founder, who told us that while the product had traction, the economics did not work at scale. What they missed, he said, was the real gold mine, which is data monetization and partnerships. Based on that conversation, we have pivoted. We are now considering 3 different models. The first one being selling anonymized transaction data and offering targeted ad space to brands that want to capture Gen Z. Second, a premium subscription tier for users who want more customization and insights on investments. And third, future strategic partnerships with platforms like Coinbase or Kraken, earning a transaction fee for each user we bring them. Now, before we get into our financials, we want you to keep in mind that we will be showing you a very pessimistic view on our model, and solely based it on our data monetization and loyalty ad model alone. We want to show you that when Oink is at its worst, it's still the best. We validated the data pricing by using Meta's average revenue per user as a benchmark of $49, and we cut this number by more than half to $20 to keep things conservative. Assuming we capture only 18,000 users in our first year, a number only 1% of our obtainable market, we will not only break even but profit $13,000. The real excitement, however, is found in the years to come, and I'll show you that in years 3 and 5. In years 3 and 5, with increases in monetizable user data, we expect to profit at $3 million in year 3 and $10 million in year 5. Looking beyond this, with the role of future partnerships, there is even more room for growth. The best is yet to come.
With this investment, we are looking to follow through and onboard a developer to create a refined MVP ready for rollout within the USD community. Although the money will definitely help out in the development, we will also continuously seek out mentorship and relationships to take Oink to the next level. We are the team to do this, and here's why. With our combined expertise in subjects like computer science, finance, economics, and mathematics, we have been able to put together a minimal viable prototype that includes a roundup aspect, an investment aspect, all while having a user-friendly interface. So far, we have validated the problem, created the MVP, and have a clear path to market. And now we're looking for partnerships and mentorships that can help us scale. For us, this isn't just a project, this is personal. We are building something that we wish we had. And we want to turn your spare change into digital wealth with Oink.
Yay, Oink. Good show, guys. So here comes some questions. You mentioned that you had a strategy of kind of prototyping with students on the USD campus. Can you add some more color around that? Do you have like a kind of a go-to-market idea on how you're going to get these students to sign up? And do they download it on an app store, or do you just, install it for them? How does all that work?
Yeah, so we're really excited. We've sent out surveys and we got a lot of user feedback. A lot of people are really interested in the app, but we want to partner with organizations on campus that already have a student base and use student ambassadors to reach out to our student body. And from there, we kind of want to let word of mouth do the rest, but it's really just utilizing organizations that exist on campus, trusted members in the community, using it to roll out our product. We want to do a soft launch at USD first, and as it grows and as it gains popularity, move to SDSU, move to UCSD, but focusing on a soft launch in University of San Diego.
Cool. So you might want to think about some incentives, how to incent them to try it. I mean, obviously dollar cost averaging into crypto is a good idea. And that alone, I think, will get some customers for you. Second question is, I know you mentioned the crypto exchanges. Are there any other potential strategic partners that might benefit from your success?
In terms of crypto exchanges?
No, I think you mentioned the crypto exchanges as possible strategic partners. Are there any others that you can think of?
I think a big one that could be a really good example would be San Diego FC. So we talked about how all our data and all the information we're gathering is very Gen Z focused. And I'll give you a little bit of background if you don't know about San Diego FC, but it's an early on sports team in the MLS. And they're definitely going to want to get as many Gen Z fans as possible, loyal fans. Offering targeted ad space to Gen Z would allow them to capture the lifetime value of customers. So for an early business like that, it's crucial to lock people in at a young age because they'll have that lifetime value of that customer. So that's an example of other strategic partners who would benefit from working with us.
That's
And
cool.
just to add on to that, another strategic partner that we could look towards is after a partnership with a company like Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, something like one of those crypto brokers, we could look towards more of a payment method, looking at companies like Apple Pay and credit card companies to really make it all-in-one type of system where people can invest and also use their crypto to pay for payments.
Certainly, if you can deliver Gen Z to some of these companies, they're going to be very interested because they're a larger cohort, I think. I know millennials are bigger than the boomers. I don't know if Gen Z is. It might not be, but millennials are bigger than boomers. And I believe Gen Z is pretty good size. It's a very big cohort. So good job, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, last and not least, we have Safe Ballot up, okay? So I don't know how many of you are familiar with blockchain. We talk about crypto as, sometimes people use it interchangeably with blockchain, but there's a core technology underneath crypto and all these other different kinds of coins that's called blockchain. And blockchain has a lot of attributes, but if you understood what those attributes are and you think about voting in blockchain, it's a no-brainer. It's duh, okay? And the reason is because blockchain can give you an immutable, that means it can't be changed, secure, and transparent network so that people could vote, people could not, would know that their vote counted, people could make sure that that wasn't double counted, all that kind of stuff, okay? So what are the chances that we're not going to see that technology merge with voting in the system? It could be a no-brainer, but you guys have to decide. Here's Safe Ballot to help you decide.
First off, thank you for the opportunity to be here today as finalists. We're honored to share something we truly believe can reshape democracy as we know it. My name is Elijah Johnson, and I'm joined by Donatella Falcomer and Thomas Salazar. Together, we are the team behind Safe Ballot, a blockchain-based voting platform built to restore trust, transparency, and accessibility in elections. We like to say, vote outside the box, because what we built doesn't just improve voting, it reinvents it. And in the next few minutes, we're going to show you how Safe Ballot can become the future of secure elections worldwide.
Let's be honest, traditional voting systems are outdated, insecure, and failing us at every level. From government elections to corporate board decisions, and even faculty or student votes. We're relying on fragile systems built for a different century. There's a lack of accessibility as people can't always get to the polls, especially in rural areas. Security is a major concern too, as ballots can be tampered with, systems can get hacked, and therefore trust is lost. And transparency, it's nearly non-existent. Voters have no real way to verify their vote was counted correctly. Whether it's a billion-dollar corporate merger, a student government election, or a decision about faculty leadership, people deserve to know why their vote was secure, counted, and verified. One of the biggest decisions we've heard is the issue of trust, especially when it comes to larger-scale political elections. And you're absolutely right, but that's why we've built Safe Ballot. Safe Ballot delivers unmatched security with military-grade encryption and blockchain integration, making tampering virtually impossible. It's accessible and it's convenient. Voters can cast ballots securely from anywhere, which is crucial for the disabled, remote, or busy populations. It's also cost-efficient, replacing outdated hardware and manual tabulation with streamlined digital infrastructure. And it's future-ready, designed for a generation that grew up with iPads in their hands, FaceTiming family and banking from their phones. They expect digital solutions, they expect security, and they expect transparency. We're not asking them to settle for the old system. We're giving them a platform built for their world.
Let's take a step back for a second. We've talked about blockchain a lot, but let me explain in the way that I like to think about it. Blockchain is like a giant digital notebook that everyone can see and use, but no one can erase or change what's already written. Every time something important happens, like a vote being cast or a payment being made, it gets recorded as a block of information. Each new block is linked or chained to the one before it, making a long, unbreakable chain of records. Because everyone using the blockchain has a copy of it, and because old information can't be changed without everyone knowing, it's very secure and trustworthy. Even if someone tried to hack it, they'd have to change thousands of copies at the same time, which is basically impossible. Now, how does that work in voting? With Safe Ballot, here's what happens. You register and log in securely. You cast your vote and get a confirmation right away. That vote is encrypted and added to the blockchain, our digital notebook. And since it's public and permanent, anyone can verify that your vote was counted without seeing who you voted for. It's private, secure, and completely tamper-proof. So blockchain isn't just some buzzword. It's the backbone of a system designed to protect democracy in a digital world.
We're not just building a vision, we're executing on it. And the traction we've gained so far speaks volumes. We've already secured a $6.4 million valuation based on real investment. because people see the value and the future in what we're building. We're officially incorporated as a Delaware C Corp, and we filed a patent for our cybersecurity architecture, locking in the IP that makes SafeBallot different from anything else in this space. We've also been selected to represent the University of San Diego on the global stage at the Fowler Global Social Innovation Challenge, and we're proud to carry the mission of the university forward with innovation that can truly change the world. But we're not doing this alone. Our team is backed by world-class mentors, including Lori Steele, a pioneer in digital voting who has led over 3,000 secure elections worldwide, and Oren Claff, one of the greatest minds in tech investing and strategic pitching. This isn't just a project. This is a company with momentum, credibility, and the team to take it all the way. SafeBallot isn't just a bold idea, it's already moving through the real world. We're rolling out a phased adoption strategy that starts with lower stakes environments like schools, student governments, and job boards, then strategically scaling up to local, state, and eventually national elections. Our pilot pipeline is strong and growing, as we've met with our very own Charlotte Johnson, the Vice President of Student Affairs here at the university, and her team to begin integration with the campus portal for student body elections and faculty votes. We're also in talks with Fulton County, Atlanta to power a secure digital voting process for an upcoming music competition. And we've engaged with Washoe County, Nevada on local political election pilots. On top of that, we've been in active conversation with a personal friend of ours and trusted leader, Rebecca Jones, the mayor of San Marcos, to explore implementing SafeBallot for future civic initiatives. This is how trust is built, through community-first rollouts, real-world validation, and partnerships with people who run our systems every single day.
So before I even start this slide, we might need you to sign an NDA, because what you're about to see is our secret weapon. This is CyberSafe, our cybersecurity infrastructure, built specifically for digital voting. Some might say our technical side isn't strong, but we have to disagree, because this is one of the most advanced layers of protection in the entire voting space. And let me walk you through it. Firstly, we have AI-powered threat detection that constantly scans for suspicious activity. We have biometric authentication for both login and vote confirmation, making sure the right person is casting the right vote. We also have end-to-end encryption and blockchain audit trails that ensure every vote is locked, traceable, and verified. Paired with liveness checks and eKYC identity verification that eliminate impersonation. We also use single sign-on across all applications with centralized ID management so users don't get lost in layers of logging. With real-time dashboards that allow live monitoring, reporting, and even alerts mid-election. And on top of that, we have a full microservice infrastructure and high availability deployment, meaning SafeBallot stays online, secure, and reliable, no matter how big the election gets. This isn't plug in and play tech. This is a one-of-one cybersecurity stack built from the ground up to protect democracy in the digital age. We're not just strong on the tech side, we're setting the standard.
When we think about market opportunity, it comes down to this. Who actually needs a solution like SafeBallot? And who's willing to buy it? We spend time thinking about that. We're already having the right conversations. Our target buyers are government and election boards looking to modernize and secure their voting infrastructure, educational institutions running student and faculty elections, corporations managing board votes, shareholder decisions, and internal leadership elections. And beyond that, we see major opportunity in underserved markets, especially in developing nations where infrastructure challenges make secure, in-person voting difficult. SafeBallot gives them a leapfrog solution: digital first, low cost, and tamper-proof. What's exciting is how diverse the use cases already are. For example, as we mentioned, we're partnering with Fulton County in Atlanta to run a music competition. Now to our competition. We've done our homework and we know exactly who we're up against. Our main competitors are companies like Voats, Smartmatic, VoteTeam, and Democracy Earth. But here's the thing. Most of them rely on centralized proprietary systems, which makes them vulnerable to hacking, manipulation, and secrecy. They aren't fully decentralized. Voters can't verify their own votes independently. and none of them has successfully combined internet, mobile, and kiosk-based voting into one integrated, secure system. Now, let's talk about what Safe Ballot brings to the table. We're 100% blockchain-based, with a system that's fully decentralized and publicly auditable. Our votes are tamper-proof, verified through smart contracts, and still maintain full voter anonymity. We will eventually integrate iPad kiosks, a mobile voting app, and secure remote voting, all under one unified platform. We built a government-compliant system that meets audit and paper trail laws, making us one of the few blockchain voting platforms designed to pass full certification, and our AI-powered security as a fraud detection layer that no other company is leveraging, not just flagging threats, preventing them in real time. No more trade-offs. We're not here to patch the past, we're here to set the new standard.
Let's zoom out and take a high-level look at how Safe Ballot makes money. Our total addressable market is $12 billion globally, with a $1.5 billion serviceable market here in the US. And we're targeting just 3% of that for a first-year $45 million opportunity. Now, how do we capture it? We've designed a diverse and scalable revenue model built on 3 key streams: reoccurring revenue through SaaS subscriptions. This makes up 40% of our model. Think of governments, schools, or corporations paying annual licensing fees for ongoing access to Safe Ballot's platform. Transaction-based fees. 35% of our model is driven by micro fees of each vote cast through the system. The more elections run on Safe Ballot, the more we scale without increasing overhead. Number 3, customization and licensing. The remaining 25% comes from institutions that need tailored integrations, unique security setups, or custom voting modules. This is a model that's not just profitable, it's predictable, scalable, and diverse. It works for elections all sizes, from student elections to national ballots, and it all allows us to grow with our clients, not just sell once and walk away. To follow up on how we make money, here's how our model works as of today. We're built around 3 key revenue streams: licensing fees for governments and institutions, SaaS subscriptions for long-term corporate use, and pay-per-use pricing for single elections or events. We've built our model off of 3 pricing tiers: Basic, Pro, and Enterprise, to serve a range of clients at different levels of scale. Now, since we're still in the pre-launch and piloting phase, this model is liable to evolve based on real-world and feedback, and our partner needs, of course. We're keeping it adaptable because staying agile is how we win early and grow fast. Early traction includes pilots, partnerships, and rising voter engagement, and we're just getting started.
When we talk about innovation, it's not just about technology, it's about impact. Safe Ballot doesn't just modernize voting, it saves real money at scale. The US spent over $15.9 billion on the 2024 presidential election. With Safe Ballot, that number could have been dropped by $3.2 to $4.8 billion. And here's how. $25,000 saved just by eliminating paper ballots, and $20,000 saved on logistics. No trucks, no storage, no ballots in transit. 50% cut in manual labor through automation, and $10,000 saved on cybersecurity because it's already built into our system. In addition to 40% savings on compliance and audits thanks to blockchain transparency, and lower costs on a per-vote basis through transaction-based pricing. But it's bigger than cost. It's sustainability. By reducing paper use, eliminating physical transport, and digitizing election infrastructure, Safe Ballot aligns with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 13, climate action. This isn't just a smarter voting system, it's a greener one, and the impact scales globally.
Now, before we close, we want to take you behind the scenes. We're proud to be student founders, building Safe Ballot while navigating full-time course loads, sports, and leadership roles. But from day one, we've been surrounded by experts to make sure this platform is built right. We've worked closely with Pacific Software Ventures, a full-stack development firm that's helped us structure and scale our technology from the ground up. One of their founding partners is actually a USD alum, which makes this partnership even more meaningful. Our CyberSafe system, the backbone of our cybersecurity, was developed in collaboration with the vice president of iCrypto, a global leader in security identity authentication. So while we're students, we're not inexperienced. We're aligned with seasoned professionals, building something far beyond a class project. We're not just pitching an idea, we're launching a solution. And we're honored to carry USD's name onto the global stage to do it.
We're incredibly proud of the advisors that's been guiding Safe Ballot behind the scenes. Collectively, they have built and led companies worth over $3 billion, and their insight has been instrumental in shaping our growth, strategy, and scale. George Falcomer, Executive Board Member at Wonderport Africa, brings decades of experience in international development and infrastructure. Through him, we're exploring a potential partnership with Wonderport, which could open the door to delivering connectivity and voting access hand in hand for underserved regions. Liz Griggs, CEO of Grantchester Groups, is a serial entrepreneur and managing partner with deep experience in scaling ventures globally. And lastly, Zane Rennell, Vice President at iCrypto, helped us engineer our custom cyber-safe cybersecurity system and continues to support our technical integrity.
So what's next for Safe Ballot? Our UI UX prototype is complete, and we're just weeks away from launching Safe Ballot 1, our first working MVP. Right now, we're preparing for our go-to-market rollout, but before we launch, we need to fund and build our official website. That site will serve as a central hub where potential clients can learn more, request demos, and schedule discovery calls. Once it's live, we'll be launching a targeted ad campaign on LinkedIn, where election officials, universities, and corporate clients are actively looking for new solutions. This next step is all about visibility and validation, so we can hit the ground running when Safe Ballot 1 officially drops. To close, we want to say thank you, not just for considering Safe Ballot, but for believing in innovation that actually moves the world forward. At a time when trust in institutions is crumbling, Safe Ballot is building a platform rooted in truth, transparency, and security. We're not just creating technology, we're rebuilding trust in democracy. We're students, yes, but we're also founders, visionaries, and operators with the drive, partnerships, and strategy to scale this globally. We're here to win. We're here to lead. And we're honored to do it with the support of the University of San Diego and the Tech Challenge team. Thank you.
Yay, Safe Ballot. Good pitch, guys.
Thank
It was
you.
a
Thank
little
you.
long, but besides that, it was awesome. So let's see if we got any questions coming in. Let me see here. Yeah. So give us some more detail, if you can, on, it says, how do you ensure end-to-end verifiability, voter privacy, prevent double voting or tampering in your blockchain system?
Of course, I mean, this is a question that we receive often, and it goes back to our cyber-safe slide, where we really hang our hat on our cybersecurity. In a sense of double voting, CyberSafe ensures that you have a single sign-in, sign-off. So that means you can only sign in one time, and it's not going to allow for double voting.
And in addition to that, the advanced military grade security does a proof of life test. So when you sign in, not only is it checking a government ID or student ID, it's also actively looking at your face, the sweat on your lip, the movement of an eyelash, anything that shows this is not a picture of someone. It's an actual live scan of your face that can only be monitored once. Everyone has an individual login that can only be scanned once.
Cool. So you guys put security at the center of all this. It sounds like. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
What else have we got here? Okay. It sounds like you have kind of a pipeline of potential early adopters. And if you had to handicap them, which do you think would be some of the best chances for a beachhead market for you? You talked about corporate, you talked about, local, you talked about universities, you talked about all the way up to, state and federal kind of stuff. What do you think is going to be the beachhead? Where do you think you'll get the most traction to kind of scale the system to a moderate size, if you will?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeff. And honestly, if I had to take everything away, I would start how we started originally with our university. I feel that university student elections are very low risk, but at the same time, we can provide the security and transparency that's needed for an election as such. And not only just student elections within the university, but also faculty. So if you ever wanted to vote on something, you could just log in on Safe Ballot and get it done.
Cool. Good show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it. Those were the 5. Now what we're going to do is we're going to welcome back Chell and Elisa, okay? And I'm going to introduce Elisa. She's our Director of Development and Alumni Relations. Elisa, this wouldn't have happened without Elisa working diligently to get our donors to make awards through their generosity to support the Shiley-Marcos tech event, but also engineering entrepreneurship in general. I'm out of here. I got to go corral some of the judges. So take it away, Chell and Elisa.
Thank you, Jeff. And hello, Elisa. How are you?
Hi, Chell. I'm doing good. How are
Great.
you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. That was pretty cool, wasn't it?
It was great.
I love the enthusiasm most students have. And there's there's an award, isn't there, we want to talk about?
Yes, there's an Audience Choice Award going on right now. You should be seeing the options to vote on one of the 5 teams on your screen. Make sure you vote, because between now and the time that we leave the screen, that's when the voting window is going to be open.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm real thrilled at what our students learn in the program by doing this. But what I wonder about is maybe where did this start? You know, the school's only 13 years old, and we started everything from scratch, and you were there with me at the very beginning of this. Tell me about it.
I'm glad you asked, Chell.
I'm glad you can answer.
So back in the day, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, we were in Arizona. We met a man who was not connected to USD. His name was David Cohn.
Yeah, I remember.
And he said to us, you know, you should be training your engineering students so that they are innovative and entrepreneurial, and if they have a technology idea, they can take that technology to market.
I remember we sat in a little restaurant across the street from the park where he was telling us, you need to do this, and you need to do this, and you need to do this, and I'm going, you're not an alumni, you haven't been to USD, and yet you care enough that you're talking about what we should be doing.
Yep.
I mean, that's where it started.
Yep.
And then we invited him to come see us, didn't we?
And then he connected us to a man named Don DeSanctis,
Oh, very cool.
who funded our very first endowed professorship and kind of got the whole idea of engineering and entrepreneurship started.
Yeah, this was an endowed professorship in entrepreneurship.
But then,
Oh yeah, then?
in 2019, I got a phone call from a man named Randy Vosti,
Yeah.
who said that he and some of his former colleagues at SAIC wanted to establish something in the name of Larry Kull.
Larry Kull? Who's Larry Kull?
So Larry Kull had been the COO and president of SAIC for many years.
Yeah.
And he sadly passed away in 2018, and Randy and his network wanted to do something in his name.
Which is really, really cool, especially for a young school like us who had just started trying to do entrepreneurial things and bring in our students and train our students, and here comes somebody along that says, we want to help you do that, and another person and another group of people who weren't strongly connected with us but saw the potential that we had, I think.
They all started piling on, checks started coming in every single day. I was a little skeptical at first. I was like, okay, well, we'll see where this goes. It became incredibly successful, and now we've raised over $500,000.
How much?
Over $500,000.
Wow.
In an endowed fund in Larry Kull's name. So we created the Larry Kull Endowed Student Award in Engineering and Entrepreneurship, and that's where these funds are coming from today.
And really, it's because of those funds that you saw these projects. And these weren't the only ones. There were other projects that were presented that didn't make the final cut. But I want to thank all the people who have donated to this. And I know $500,000 for some universities, big universities, that may seem very small. For us, it's very significant.
Yes.
When you're a young university and you're trying to do something with your students, and you care as deeply as we do about the students, you want to give them rich experiences. And what this fund has done is help us in engineering change the mindset. Remember earlier when I first talked with you, I said, we want students who think differently than just engineering and just technical solution. We want to be broader than that.
Yep. And so now here we got this program. It's, we're doing it for the 5th time, I believe.
5 times.
Yep. And it's all thanks to these creative thinkers outside of the university that got this started. So we're very grateful.
I was very, very, very happy.
And so we would like to show you a little video just paying tribute to who Larry Kull was. And after that, Dr. Nikhil is going to come back on and tell you who the winners are.
I'm excited. Hold my breath.
Here we go.
Hi, I'm Shel Roberts, Dean of the Shiley-Marcos School of Engineering, and I'm excited to tell you that over the past year, we have raised about $400,000 to endow the Larry Kull Award for a student in engineering and entrepreneurship. It is our great pleasure to share with you the inspiring story of Larry Kull and how the donation from his friends and colleagues will enable students and a student team to create an enterprise into the future that makes impact in the name of Larry Kull.
Dr. Lorenz Kull, or Larry Kull as he was known to everyone, led San Diego-based Science Applications International Corporation as its president and its chief operating officer from the 1980s into the 1990s. A practical engineering sense derived from his early enlisted service in the US Navy always informed his technical brilliance as a physicist. Moreover, he was an astute businessman. Never tried to put something over on a guy from South Chicago. His dealings with co-workers and competitors alike were marked by integrity and honesty. Larry was passionate about helping others. Humble, generous, and with unswerving loyalty, he was the very heart of SAIC.
Larry was such an extraordinary man and positively affected so many of those around him. After his passing, friends and former colleagues Hugh Kendrick, Stephen Dallage, and I wanted to find a way to honor him in a far-reaching way he so rightly deserved. USD's E-Track program grabbed our attention. USD had the right combination. It is a smaller university where an award like this wouldn't get lost in the shuffle. And USD represents the kind of values that Larry would have embraced.
We are so grateful for the generosity of Larry Kull's family and friends for helping make our students' dreams possible.
Wow, what a great event. So as we conclude today's event, I want to express my sincere thanks to everyone who made it a success. Dean Roberts, Ryan Smith, who program managed the entire contest, Elisa Lurkis, Michelle Stupkai, Dr. Venkat Shastri, and Jeff Teza. Thank you also to our judges, mentors, and donors, and everyone else who supported the event from behind the scenes. I'd also like to give recognition to the other teams who submitted to compete in tech. We had GhostVin, we had Tinkerbell, Q-Ringer, Pavement to Produce, Orpheus Technologies, and Invest IQ. Your innovative journey does not end here, and we hope to see you continue your entrepreneurial pursuits at USD, hopefully in next year's contest. All right, and now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the announcement of the winners for Tech 2025. Let's start off with the Audience Choice Award. This is a $1,000 cash award, goes to Oink. Congratulations. Great, let's move on. 5th place, again for $1,000. The winner is CheckRx. Congratulations. In 4th place, again for $1,000, we have Safe Ballot. Congratulations, Safe Ballot team. All right, so now let's move on to the top 3 winners. The second runner-up for a prize of $3,000. This is the bronze medal, the 3rd place. And the winner is Apprendi AI. Congratulations, Apprendi AI. Patricio, you want to say something?
Looks like you're muted, Patricio.
He's speechless. Great. Awesome, Patricio. Let's move on to whenever Patricio's online again, we can probably get back to him. Let's move on to the first runner-up award. Second place for the silver medal. And once I announce this, we will know who the winner is. So the second place winner for Tech 2025 is Oink. And that means this year's winner is Fisheye. Congratulations, everyone. Great. Have them on screen, and if they want to say anything, how is everyone feeling? Congratulations again. Let's start with Dylan, Fisheye.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it gives me so much confidence and motivation to keep going. And the money's definitely going to help, with outreach and networking and testing the product and, continue training and developing. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to keep working on it.
Congratulations, Dylan.
Thank you.
All right, Oink. Thomas, Evan, Andre.
Yeah, thank you again for all the mentorships that some of the professors yourself have provided with us. You, Jeff, all the other advisors have been more than helpful. We look forward to just taking this to the next step and seeing how far we could go with Oink. So look forward to hearing from us soon. Thank you.
Great job, great job. Patricio?
If my audio is working, I'm not sure if anybody can hear me.
We can.
Be grateful to come in third place, and I thank the engineering school for letting business students participate, and thanks for everybody who's involved. Great experience.
Great. Well, congratulations, everyone. Thank you for attending Tech, and we look forward to seeing you again next year. Thank you very much.